Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline and today's video is going to be my 2024 summer TBR. My chair is like squeaking like crazy. But the time has come. It is now May and it is starting to feel like summer, and probably my favorite genre is like summery books or books set in summer. I love like summer camp books or just really anything set in the summer. So I am very excited for the season. I also get to read so much more in the summer than I do during like the rest of the year. So I'm excited to definitely get ahead on my Goodreads goal, catch up to my Goodreads goal, and read a ton. So without further ado, I'm going to give y'all my 2024 summer TBR. Some of these books have been on my 2023 summer TBR, and they are once again being put back on the TBR. And probably some of these will also be on my 2025 summer TBR, but that's just the way it goes. But I'm really hoping that I read a lot or most of these and I stick to my TBR. I'm just gonna go in a completely random order. I have an assortment of genres here and we're just gonna go through them and hopefully I'll get some book recs through this. Okay, so the first book I actually have to read for school, but it is Into the Wild by Jon Krakauer. I feel like I'm gonna say that wrong. But it is nonfiction and it's about this guy's life, and it's supposedly really dark, but it's kind of about this guy who goes out into the wild. And the acclaimed journalist Jon Krakauer reassembles the disquieting facts of Chris McCandless's short life. And so he kind of finds out about like what really happened. And it sounds pretty dark, so this definitely won't be like a beach read, but it also seems really short. So hopefully I can read it pretty quickly. Okay, next, my mom just gifted me this book, so thank you, Mom. It is The Book of Longings by Sue Monk Kidd. So Sue Monk Kidd is the author of The Secret Life of Bees, which is a book I really enjoyed, which is also a really good summer book, I think, because it's set in North Carolina, I think. It's set in the South and it's very hot, and I think it's set in the summer. And it has very like summery vibes. But this book is a historical fiction novel about a woman who lives in Israel, and she lives in a time when women are seen as like possessions that like their sole purpose is to get married. And she wants to be a writer and find her own voice. And it is also a romance. It both talks about the struggles of being a woman in that time period, and then also has a romance element to it, which I think is really cool. Okay, then I want to read Upstream by Mary Oliver. This is a poetry book, or it's a collection. Oh no, it's not a poetry book. It's a collection of essays, but Mary Oliver is a very popular poet. And I think this will just be really like pretty. I think based on the cover and the title, I'm hoping there will be a lot of like nature elements in her writing. Okay, this has been sitting on my shelf for about 6 months, and I've just been putting it off because I've heard mixed reviews about Iron Flame. This is the sequel to Fourth Wing, and I really do want to read it. It's just heavy, and I'm scared I might get bored, and it's 600 pages, which is a lot. But I do want to read it because I do want to get back into this world, and I do miss the characters. So I think summer would be the perfect time, like when I can sit down and actually get through this book. Next is The Truth About Forever by Sarah Dessen. Sarah Dessen is a very popular YA romance author, and I've never read any of her books. I've seen the movie Along for the Ride, which is cool because I don't know if that's the only one, but I think a couple of her books have been turned into movies. But I love a good YA romance, and this one is set in the summer. And I was looking at like her most popular books because I wanted to read one that was most popular, to hopefully find one that I like. And this was one of her most popular, if not her most popular. So I'm really excited about this one. Next is Malibu Rising. I'm actually going on a trip soon, and I think I might bring this one because I'm really excited to read it. It is by Taylor Jenkins Reid, who's very popular. She wrote Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones and the Sixth, Carrie Soto is Back. She's very popular, and this sounds so good. It's basically about all these rich kids in Malibu and kind of like their troubles. I think most of her books are very much like character driven and not plot driven. I don't know if everyone would agree with me on that, but I feel like Daisy Jones and the Six was like very character driven. And then The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was character driven, but it did have like more of a chronological plot. But I really enjoy her writing, and this one sounds really, really good. And it has very much summer, like beach vibes. Next is The Odds of Loving Grover Cleveland, which I definitely remember was on my last summer TBR. But this is also a YA romance like the Sarah Dessen one. But it's set in like a camp for troubled teens, I think. And so this girl, Xander, who's 16, goes to this camp and she ends up meeting someone. So it's like kind of a campy romance, which I think is really cute. And I really like the cover. Next is Kisses and Croissants, which is a little foreign country YA romance. It is obviously set in Paris, and it's about this ballerina who goes to Paris, I think, to pursue her dream of like being a professional ballerina. But she realizes it's a lot harder than she thought. But she does end up meeting a boy in Paris, and I love a good like foreign country romance. And so this will be a very quick read, I think. But it'll be, I'm hoping it'll be very similar to Anna and the French Kiss, which is one of my favorite books. I think I rated it 5 stars because they kind of give similar vibes. Next is Hook, Line, and Sinker. This is probably like one of the ones I'm most excited to read because it is the sequel to It Happened One Summer, and it's by Tessa Bailey. And It Happened One Summer I read last summer and loved it. I loved the characters. I loved Piper. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the writing. I just really, really enjoyed it. And this is the second, which I've seen a lot of people say they preferred this one. So I'm excited about this one. This is about Piper's sister, who Piper's the main character in the first book. And then it's Brendan's, and then the love interest is Brendan's friend, which Brendan was the love interest in the first book. Okay, next, I really want to have a little reread because I am obsessed with the duology of We Were Liars and Family of Liars. This is the prequel, and I really do enjoy We Were Liars, but if you've read We Were Liars, you know that you'll never get that reread again. Like, you'll never get to experience the experience of reading it for the first time again. And this one is more, I think, is a little bit less like that. It's more atmospheric, and I really, really enjoyed Family of Liars. I wouldn't say I liked it more than We Were Liars, but it definitely was really close. This is like a 5-star, and We Were Liars was like a 6-star. But I really want to reread this because it had the most beautiful summer aesthetic. I love looking at Pinterest photos of like Family of Liars aesthetic. And even if you've read We Were Liars and didn't like it, I think you might like Family of Liars more, because it's really good and it's a little bit less confusing. I think a lot of people don't like We Were Liars because they consider it confusing, and I'd say that Family of Liars is a lot less confusing. Okay, this one really has nothing to do with summer, but I have been wanting to read Pride and Prejudice for a really long time, and I love the movie, and I just think I have to do it. And so I might listen to the audiobook and then read it at the same time, just because my problem is I get kind of like bored reading classics sometimes, and especially with like some of the big words, and it's just like, it's very, nice language that sometimes is hard to comprehend. So I think it'd be a lot easier to be listening to it while I'm reading it. So this is the year 2024. I gotta read it. Next is The Viscount Who Loved Me, which is the second Bridgerton novel. I just watched season 3 of Bridgerton, or the first 4 episodes, because they just came out, and I love Bridgerton. I love the world. I read the first book last summer, and I really, really liked the first book because I think Daphne and Simon are my favorite out of all the couples. But this is the second. This is Anthony and Kate, and I'm really excited about them because I love their tropes as well. So I'm slowly but surely getting through the Bridgerton series. And I'm excited for the third because the third is Benedict, I think. I think the series like switched the order of them. Okay, next is Heartstopper Volume 5. If you have not heard yet, the 3rd season of the Heartstopper TV show comes out in October, so I'm ready to get back into this world. I kind of already know what happens in this one because I've read the webtoon, but I think this would be a really nice book to just read over the summer. I've already started it, because it's just something I like pick up every once in a while. And I think I could finish this really quickly since it's a graphic novel. This is one of the books I am most excited to read this summer. It came out in February, so it's pretty new. And it is Don't Want You Like a Best Friend by Emma R. Albin. And what immediately like drew me in is that this is a lyric from Dress by Taylor Swift. If you know, you know. And it is a sapphic romance that's set in like the 1800s. And so it kind of is in the Bridgerton era, I think. But it's these two girls who are like supposed to be finding husbands, but instead they form a friendship and they're trying to get their parents together, like Parent Trap. So there's kind of like two romances going on, one between them and then one between their parents, which I think is really cute. And I love this era of time, like the Bridgerton time. I think it's so cute, and so I'm really excited. Like even the cover is just so pretty, like their dresses. I love it. Okay, last but certainly not least, and something that has been on my shelf for about 5 years now, is The Song of Achilles, which I know no one's talking about anymore because everyone read it 3 years ago. But I think the summer is finally the time when I read it. I think what's been scaring me is that some people say there's too much Greek mythology and they say it's hard to understand. And I don't know anything about Greek mythology, so if you need any prior knowledge for this, I will be unprepared. But everyone says it's really cute. It's like the writing's beautiful, you can highlight a ton, and it's very summery because it's set in the summer. So I think this summer is the summer. It'll happen, hopefully. So those are the books on my summer TBR. There are probably more that I will read and some of those that I won't read realistically. But that's kind of what I have going on, what I'll try to be picking from this summer. Comment down below the books on your summer TBR and if you've read any of these and what your thoughts are. And I will see y'all soon. Happy summer.